Hey everybody, it's Film Reverie, the Filmmaking Friday pep talk, your weekly filmmaking pep talk from Becca Meyer and Balding Ewok.
Yeah.
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 Guarantee you.
I'm going to bold. You can see the here.
I'm going to Boulder. I'm gonna get some spaghetti. Spaghetti, but I'm going to Boulder. Is it racist?
I wasn't going for Italian. I was going for Swedish, so I don't know if that's racist.
Oh, yeah.
Or just...
You can't be racist towards Swedish people. They're just white.
Here's the thing: if you're white and you make fun of, look, doing a voice. If it's white on white, it's okay.
What's white on white?
White on white racism is fine.
So
those are the rules.
It's also okay to call it, hey, what's up, cracker? First of all, I think the word cracker is ridiculously funny anyway. I mean, cracker
has no power. I don't understand why anyone ever used it. White bread and cracker. How is that insulting?
Those are both really good. Crackers are great. Bread is delicious.
It's bad for you though. Right? I mean,
white on white racism. That's a new one for the books. White on. I figure if you're white,
it's okay. Say whatever you want. The Swedish.
You know, why are you doing this?
I don't know, because the voice goes up and down. And that's how it went into Italian.
I thought you were doing Goldmember. Sweaty.
Sweaty balls. But they weren't sweaty, they were gold.
Shalty. Ooh, Shalty.
Oh. See, my toes are like...
Yeah.
Just like your whole body has to get into it.
I already have a headache. Okay, that's it for this week. Just kidding. So for those of you that have been paying attention, maybe you have, maybe we don't know. We released our short film manifest on YouTube this week for free for everybody to see, which you can see on our website at smuentertainment.com. You click on the projects tab, and it will be right there, along with our other films.
Yeah.
And maybe, in fact...
You should put it on the front.
Yeah, we should put it on the front. We're going to do that, yeah. So we're recording this slightly ahead of schedule, but yes, we'll put it on the front page for a few days so people can get straight to it. So, smuentertainment.com.
Smoo!
Go to see our film.
Smooent!
Manifest, which is a 10-minute-ish... It's about a 10-minute long short film about finding love across the cosmos, you could say.
Sure. Is it imagined love? It's real?
Well, that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, but no, if you're asking me, love is not real.
It is
I'm just kidding.
A chemical reaction, and it all takes place in your head. So,
it's fake.
Is it real or not? Is anything your brain perceives real?
So our short film is fake news, which is a term I hate. I can't believe I just said it out loud. I hate...
Fake news is fake news. It's its own irony. It's ironical in and of itself.
What is happening in the news today that caused us to be racially charged and political all in the first 5 minutes? White on white racism and fake news and...
Dude, this is Free Film Friday. We're free. It's freedom. Look, the cat
I got a cat freaking out.
The cat can do whatever. Dog can do whatever. I say whatever.
My Swedish sticker.
But I was doing the Muppets.
I know. Beaker or
I'm
whatever
a
his name.
bald.
I'm a bald.
Okay. Let's go.
So this is a film we shot in July of 2019.
Wow.
Yeah. And what happened is we had the pandemic happen, so it felt weird to release things during all of that, and we didn't really finish it until
Was it
some
a year
into
and a
20.
half ago?
No. It was 2020. We finished it in 2020.
Okay.
But it was late into 2020, and we released it in 2020. We had a live premiere of it, and we sent it out to some film festivals, and decided that once that came to an end, that we would put it out on YouTube.
Yeah.
So for everybody to see, because we really have come to the place, or at least I have come to the place where I would rather put out a film and let people see it, because that's why we make it, for people to see it. Because there's this thing that's like was closely guarding your things and not letting people see it and stuff like that. Say, I get satisfaction out of knowing people have seen it.
Yeah.
At a certain point, yes, you want to keep it to yourself for a little bit when you're working on it, and stay. You don't want people to see it until you're like get it just right. In fact, just looking at it today, we're about to put it out on the YouTube and everything. We tweaked a little bit here, and there's something else we want to do to it to give it a certain look before we officially put it out on the YouTube. I sound old.
Yeah.
The YouTube.
Even just before we started this episode, I was like,
Brad made one more color correction, which is like, I got a little nervous because like, oh god, here we go, because when you change one little thing, it changes every fucking thing around it. But we did pretty good not letting that happen.
Right.
So, but what we wanted to do is maybe show. So, if you're listening to us, we're going to talk a little bit about Manifest, and we're going to show some video from it. We're going to talk while we show.
Yeah, we're going to open show premiere, and
if you want to see this, you'll have to go to
YouTube,
our YouTube page, which you can also find at our website, smuentertainment.com, and take a look at our most recent at this episode of Filmmaking Fridays,
YouTube,
which will
we're
be
Super Mega Ultra.
Yeah, but they can get to it from we're Super Mega Ultra on YouTube, but they can find it from our website. Just go to our website.
Just go to our website, because there's another like Super Mega Ultra thing that is something else. That they're honestly, we're gonna sue them.
Right. So we're just gonna scrub through here and take a look at some stuff. We did some stuff in this film that we'd never done before. Another thing that slowed us down a little bit. We've talked about this before, where we sort of got intimidated by the things we didn't know about. It was like, because we don't want to do something and have it look like people who worked on it who didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, we can't have. I think that's one of the biggest things that make it hard, at least for me. But I know both of us don't like starting something unless we can do it right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you just kind of want to figure it out first, and then
But what we know now, is, and we've always known it, but the best way to get good at something is to put yourself in the situation where you have to, where you're gonna be ultimately embarrassed if you fuck it up.
I have to railroad myself into doing these things.
So we're just got our little Premiere open here, and we're gonna take a look at some of our stuff.
You got to switch over to Premiere to.
Oh, I have to switch over to Premiere to do it.
To move things around.
Right. That makes sense. All right, there we go here. All right, so this is what's known as the opening. You can see our title.
It's all fancy and shit. Yeah.
It's all fancy and shit. And we've got the stars. We have Anthony Maywright as somebody who will be on future episodes of Film Reverie in just a few weeks. We have a couple of episodes with him talking about
several short films.
He's been in 3 of our short films so far.
Yeah.
None of them have been released yet.
And it's not because he's that great. It's just because he was the only person available. No, I'm joking.
Fuck you, Maywright.
We love Maywright.
Maywright is actually someone who is a student of mine, and he graduated from my class, high school, many years ago at this point, 6-7 years ago. And has been... And
learned nothing.
Has been... Yeah, but that wasn't from lack of trying. He was actually rejecting all notions of learning at all at the time I knew him. No, but he's been working as an actor ever since then, and recently moved out to L.A. Anyway, he's going to be on a couple of episodes of Film Reverie in the coming weeks, where we get to know him a little bit. But this is
where you get to see us embarrass him as much as possible.
Yeah, and Chantal Watts is a friend of mine from an old job I had before I taught high school, we worked together on a live broadcast production crew. She was she was a camera grip and I was a camera operator. She was like pulling cable and stuff. So we spent many hours in the heat and rain and on football fields complaining, and we've sort of trauma bonded for life.
Toxic bonding.
Yeah, trauma
Sounds
bonding.
like our relationship.
Anyway, she's one of my best friends. You got demoted, by the way. You're third or fourth on the list now. It's CJ.
Oh.
Yeah. So Manifest, that's the name of our movie. But we did things in here that we'd never done before. A couple of things. And they're subtle things, and the idea is that you wouldn't ever notice them. Anything you want to say about this?
It's a good shot. It looks good. I don't know.
I'm going to say the hardest part, this is the second film we've done as with strictly voiceover as the narrative, where people are talking in voiceover, it's this thing that I started doing with a short film of ours called Opia, where you're basically hearing their thoughts. They're not talking to each other necessarily. In Opia, they're not talking to each other, but this thing, it's almost like they're connected at the brain, right? And they're talking that way. But I think the hardest part about that kind of storytelling is that it's hard to tell a story that way. I always, when we first
all in the head.
All in the head. It's hard to tell. It's hard to get if people are talking to each other in a scene. The actors, I've noticed, the couple of times we've done this, it's easier for them to speak the words to a person than when they're sitting in front of a microphone projecting an emotion through a voiceover.
Because we recorded most of the audio.
After the fact. Yeah. In fact, we even re-recorded Maywright's lines after he had lived in Los Angeles.
Cali?
Yeah. So, but it's harder. I've noticed it's always something that seems like it will be easier. Oh, we don't even have to shoot dialogue scenes. You're going to be all in voiceover, and it's like narrating from their heads. But it's so much harder to convey the emotion when they're in a locked up room. It really gives you gave me newfound respect for things like Toy Story, where they're having to like act in a sound booth.
Yeah, it's easier when you have someone to act off of or react to, but when you got to pretend that they're in the room and then match what you're doing on the screen.
And it's so much harder to direct that way. I felt like I've really struggled finding the right tone with their voices.
Yeah. We had to get his audio a second time. We did his audio once and then had to get it again because we didn't like... it just didn't match the performances that we got when we put it with the video. It's like in the moment we didn't know exactly what we needed until we saw it on there, sort of.
Yeah, it's been a real struggle. It was a struggle for me to find the right tone.
Look at how the lighting. I love the lighting and the color.
And the streaks of the rays of light. Yeah, I like that too.
We're getting better at our jobs.
We're getting better at this shit. Yeah. Do you want to talk about what else do you want to talk about in here?
I don't know.
Miles Santiago is our director of photography here. He's the guy that we've talked about him before, and he's been on our show before.
He had a fog machine and everything.
Where he was my student who was my former student who picked up the cinematography duties on our feature film when our original director of photography had to bail out, due to life circumstances at the time.
Yeah.
But we shot this on a Blackmagic Ursa. Is it Ursa Mini or is it? I can't remember what camera he has. He has an Ursa, Blackmagic Ursa, and this was his Sony cam. I can't remember which Sony DSLR he has.
Oh, did you use two different cameras?
He used this camera because
we had to squeeze it in the car.
In this scene, we had to squeeze it in the car on the dashboard to get this shot. So we had a little smaller camera.
I didn't even know that. I did such a good job matching the scenes.
Oh, I thought you did such a good job of not paying attention.
I wasn't that. By the way, this was mostly a Becca Meyer solo thing. Like I wasn't. I did post production shit, and ADR and all that stuff. But this was like you and Miles most of the time, and the actors.
Yeah. Were you even here this day?
No.
I don't think you were even here the day we shot
Nope.
outside. And it's not because you weren't invited.
Just I didn't. This was
You just-
this was all you. I mean, I'm saying it was born in your head, and it was. There was nothing for me to add. This was all you putting on in your brain onto the screen.
Yeah, but also you didn't want to be there. It was hot. It was July.
I hate
in
outside.
the summer. Yeah, I hate outside. Well, good luck with that, Brad.
The world is outside.
But what we did.
I just like how pretty it looks.
Yeah, it looks good. I do think, and Miles and I both agreed, we got our backgrounds overexposed a little too much, and we couldn't do much with them in post.
But what's important
does
is
look
that
good.
your actors are exposed correctly.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
I think it's forgivable. He also, I think, agreed that it's forgivable
I like
because they look fine.
This is supposed to.
I would shoot
Not that I'm spoiling anything, but it's supposed to be ethereal.
Yeah.
And not necessarily all.
The whole thing is dreamy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing is dreamy. And I would shoot this. It's weird when you make something. It's when you make something and live through that experience. The next thing you do, you would shoot that last film differently if you just knew what you knew now, or if you at least from spending all that time with it, you end up honing in on, we should have done that instead.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that happens with everything I've ever made. Everything I've ever made is like, now I know exactly how to shoot that scene, but we're already done with it. So you just have to keep moving forward in that regard.
What's interesting is we're not hearing the audio, and I don't know if you played it, if they could hear it.
Yeah.
But
I muted this.
I had to
anyway.
do everything from I had to find a good squeak, like a for the
for the swing. Yeah, for the swing.
Anytime somebody walks by or a car,
Yeah.
we had to put some people talking in the background.
Yeah, car sounds, bikes,
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff. And
Every
we
sound.
by the way, we stole this shot. We didn't have insurance.
It's our favorite thing. Every one of our films, we have to steal at least one shot.
At least a shot, yeah. And what I like about it is we really did. We set up a camera in the middle. There's like hundreds of people walking by, dozens of people, But we set up this shot. We set up a camera. We had them act out their thing. I'm sitting there 15 feet away from them, reading the lines to them so that they can react so that they can react to it.
Yeah, they're thinking
and there
these thoughts.
there are people riding by looking at us and going, what the hell? And people just stayed out of our way. Which I know is not always the case, but they did. We shot this real quick. It's one of the reasons we don't necessarily love some of the blown out backgrounds, is because we were shooting it quick to get in and out before we got in trouble. But it worked out just the way I wanted. I wanted a bike to roll by right at the
Look at that.
look at that.
That is a Beckelmeyer signature.
Yeah.
Like he always wants this intense in your face.
Yeah.
Shit.
So the thing is, there's a scene here that's where people are in bed with each other, enjoying each other's company, if you will.
They were enjoying more than their camping.
And but the thing is, this shot right here is not quite right. I'm gonna say I wanted it even tighter. We needed a macro because I wanted tongues coming from the top and bottom of the frame just for a second, because you're looking at that going, what is that, right?
It reminds me of back in the day when I first saw Aeon Flux on the MTV's animation block, when it was all these weird looking people with long tongues.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then we have the afterglow here, which is the scene I know that I really want you to talk about. It's because we have... Hold on here. Let me get it to the spot. Oh, it's at the beginning of the scene. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, the wide shot.
Yeah, the wide shot.
And by the way, color correcting this kind of stuff is hard, and matching all of it. Like, you're trying to get a nighttime look but also have some flesh tones, and
Yeah.
you gotta isolate. I had to figure out how to isolate their skin from the background.
Yeah. So
Yeah, this is interesting because we did this weird thing where we blocked out the window. We shot this during the day, and I was like, just tape up the window.
right. Well, we needed to tape up the window because it was daytime, but we needed to be nighttime, so we blacked out the window.
Right.
And then we said, we'll get a shot when it's dark, so we can cut it in.
Yeah.
Or
I'll fix it in
we'll
post.
fix it in post, and that's what we ended up
We
doing.
had all the time in the world to set up a camera and get a shot of the window at night, isolated by itself, which would have saved me hours and
but-
hours of trouble.
But would you feel as accomplished, Brad?
No, I learned a lot,
yeah.
and it was
So,
pretty cool.
The thing is, if you're watching the video, or if you've seen the film, the nighttime shot with all the stars in the window
That's a galaxy.
is a fake window.
Yeah, that window.
That
is
window
not there.
doesn't. That window wasn't there.
I got a window off of Google.
And we put the nebula in the background. And then the coolest part that I thought was cool about it is that you went in and you added shading and lighting effects.
I made it look like it was inside the thing, and I also added a reflection from the Christmas lights onto the window to give it a little more realism.
So-
and you notice it more when it's playing because the galaxy is moving and the lights stay there, and you realize it's a reflection.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's really cool. I think I matched it really well. If we didn't tell you that I did a window there, you wouldn't know that.
Out of the handful of people that I've seen see this, nobody ever noticed. And that's the coolest part about it, is that like we know it's there, but unless we tell somebody, it's the movie magic. It's the movie magic.
Yeah. It was a lot of work. I had to cut out everything, make it look reflective, make it look like it was there.
This right here, where they are laying, kind of like how they laid at the very beginning,
Yeah.
but here at the end, the closer to the end, is one of my favorite shots, pretty much ever. I like the framing. I like their faces here, and it feels close and intimate, which is what we were going for.
Yeah.
I like the way it looks. Directorially, I was happy with, every now and then you're lucky and you actually get a shot the way you want it.
Yeah.
Like you think, eventually maybe you'll like more shots than not. But really it's like, and then you land on a shot and you're like, this is just what I had in my head. This one was just what I had in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy with it. I think CJ looks great here. Her face, she's definitely thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it. May Wright's just like, oh my god, I'm touching a girl.
I hope I don't accidentally touch her.
Anyway, man, May Wright must love me because we give him so much shit and he just laughs and keeps coming back for more.
You know what's weird? It's like the shit rolls downhill kind of thing where you pick on me, and the whole time he was here, I pick on him.
You're placing the pecking order. Just fuck you, man. I'm number 2 in here. Don't go getting.
Get out of my face!
Don't go getting the chip on your shoulder. I'm number 2. You're number 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he lived with us for a little bit while he was writing out the pandemic. He's like the pecking order. It's Becca Meyer. Okay, Becca Meyer's 1. I'm 2, motherfucker. You don't get to come in here and be 2 just because you're taller than me too.
Right.
So I think that's pretty much. That covers it, right? Was there anything else we wanted to touch on?
Oh yeah. These shots, like go back to that. Well, it'll come back because it's a machine gun.
Yeah, we did
edit.
a lot of fast edits here at the end.
Like that shot is a lot of work.
Yeah, to get it look like there wasn't any work done to it.
I had to. We're looking at it as a final thing, but I had to bring out the. First of all, I love how we got the light coming through. We had to put a light outside the actual window there and have it come at an angle like that.
But what I love about it is I think it's just one light. There might
It
be a
is-
second light on him bouncing some light onto his face.
maybe.
But anyway, for those of you that are listening to the podcast, this might not be like really coming across for you. We would recommend you to go ahead and just take a look at this episode
Yeah.
if you're curious, or go watch the film to see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But
just real quick, all the stuff that's standing out to you, like the glow on his face and how the background light is shining,
Yeah, you
and,
did that.
and the colors, and I had to do everything you're seeing. I had to make it pop and look that way, because if you see the original by itself, it's just like
It's
gray
flat. It's
and
flat.
flat.
yeah, it's raw.
There's not a shine on his head like that.
It's S-Log.
I had to,
raw
and you
video.
might be able to notice in that shot there, but I had to isolate their faces in that shot and kind of bring it out more
Yeah.
to separate from the background, because at this point, their faces and their minds are. Their faces are what's important in that scene, but also their minds are, connecting. So it was important that their face stand out in those scenes. Anyway, go see it.
Yeah. So
You'll give a link.
yeah. So we're telling people to go to
Just-
smuentertainment.com. It'll be
Yeah.
right there on the front page for a couple of weeks. Right now, this is like middle of
And
September.
you'll be
so
able to find it on our YouTube channel.
it'll always be on our YouTube channel. It's always going to be on our website, but for a few days, to make a big deal out of it, we'll put it on the front page.
Yeah.
You'll if you go to our website, you will have to watch it, because that's going to be the only thing you can see for a bit. Anyway, we say all this not to pat ourselves on the back or to rub anybody's face in it, or to talk about how good we are, because we're telling you we're figuring this stuff out, a lot of it, as we go, and sometimes it's hard to admit that, because some of that stuff you feel like we've been doing this for so long, we should already know how to do that stuff, but it doesn't come up until it comes up. And for a long time, we were kind of waiting around for a budget to do things that we needed stuff like that for, but we kind of got tired of waiting. We're like, well, fuck it, let's just figure it out ourselves. And Brad, I will say, Brad does a lot of the visual effects heavy lifting. He's the one with the ability, the innate ability to hyper focus on things and do a deep dive and figure it out. I could also sit down and do that stuff,
yes,
because I have done it before, but you're
Yeah.
so much better at it than I am in that regard with that stuff. And you like to do it. You love that stuff. At least I think you do.
I have, it's this weird thing where I have to corner myself into doing it and force myself to do it. But once I do it, I get it done fast, and I've learned a lot. And then if I ever have to do it again, it's easy.
Yeah.
I like learning how to do these things. Like, I'll know in my head, I know mechanically, well, this and that, but actually doing it and figuring out where the buttons are and all the tweaking, and it's a whole different story.
Two things. And the first thing is, do you remember in the 90s when we started doing this, we had to read a book or take a class to figure out how to do some of this stuff.
Or talk to a bunch of people.
Now, or get somebody else to do it for you, which was exclusive. It made certain things exclusive. Like, you couldn't do those things because you need somebody who knew After Effects or whatever. But now, if you need to do something, you can go to YouTube. There's a tutorial for everything. A 5-minute video version or a 2-hour version of the thing. There's really no excuse. You have your Adobe Creative Cloud suite.
Yeah, you might have to pay $50 a month.
Right, you have your Adobe Creative Cloud suite. I'm lucky that they give educators a discount. I think I pay $30 a month for it instead of $50 or $60 or whatever it is. But you have your Creative Cloud suite, and if you're a filmmaker, you probably already have that, or at least Premiere or something, and YouTube. There is really, at this point in time, no excuse to not try something you've never done before. And I think because of the way things were when we first started, we forget that sometimes. And we forget that we can just go to YouTube and spend a few minutes, even if it's a couple hours or a day or so, learning something that we couldn't do 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Something as simple as, cleaning up audio back in 2000 was like, oh, I'd need thousands of dollars and this expensive software and this big computer and an expert to show me all of these little doing the wavelengths and whatever. And nowadays you just can click put a filter on your thing and adjust a couple things and you're done.
Yeah.
And I used to be so intimidated by it because I was the audio for that film we talked about in the other episode that
Playback
never got made.
Yeah.
I was the audio guy and had the boom mic, and I was hearing all this stuff like the whole time you're directing and stuff. I'm trying to figure out how am I gonna take
How
this
we're gonna
out?
clean this out? Yeah.
All I hear is the refrigerator going. Whoa.
And honestly,
how am I gonna get rid of that?
When we made that, there was really not any. There's no computer trick.
There was
to do
no
it.
computer trick to do that back
Now
then.
you can literally isolate a sound, click a button, and say, "Computer, take this sound out," and it does it. It's a
I've
magic
done
trick.
That. Like in our film, the feature film,
Totally Awkward. Really pathetic and totally awkward.
Before we took, what do you call it? Before we decided, we're going to record audio in the car and fix it later, I had to figure out that it was possible and what software to use. But then once I got in there, it's like you just put a filter on and play around a little bit, and you can.
And by the way, there's a YouTube video for that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so all we're saying is, look, we're not patting ourselves on the back. All we're saying is, look, it's you can do it. You can do it. There's no excuse not to do it.
There's no excuse except for time, because anyone can do Hollywood level production, even 3D, like Unreal Engine that they're using for Mandalorian. There's a free version basically where you can create your own movies and stuff that they're photorealistic, the whole worlds and everything.
So are we gonna have to practice what we preach?
I'm not doing.
Let's practice what we preach and do a CGI film.
Nope. Not.
We just said, look, there's no excuse. Now you're not gonna.
I'm not gonna do it.
What's with the negativity? What's with the negativity? You're always saying no.
I dipped my toe into 3D. I could watch a thing and then copy it.
Yeah.
I actually taught a 3D class a little bit.
Great, even though you're not going to do it.
I hate it. I love how it looks, but I hate all the.
I would. That is something I would be zero help in, because I cannot even draw a stick figure.
Oh, dude, you can get all the assets you want online. That's why I was saying you could. Literally within 30 minutes, you could have, if you have Unreal Engine downloaded, you can grab the assets, plop them in there. It does it all automatically, and then you can have a thing walking around, because even the animations for walking around.
Then what are you saying no to?
I'm not.
Okay.
After Effects, I will do.
I'll give you that, because I know I would be zero help.
I even dipped into 2D animation. With
what are you doing?
Like I could with our audio, I could have little cartoon versions of us talking right now. I don't want to do that unless we have a good excuse.
Okay, so if you're watching this video or listening to this podcast, number one, I apologize. No, I'm kidding. No, if you're watching
what
or
is
listening,
it? I'm a white
cisgendered male, and for
male.
that, and I apologize. No, but if you're watching or listening, you can go to our website right now, smuentertainment.com, and see the film we're talking about. Watch it. We'd love to hear what people thought, even if you hate it. That's fine with us.
Even if you saw the little scenes in the thing we're doing just now, and you're like, "Oh, that looks like shit."
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But it will hurt Brad's feelings.
I'm not sure if I have feelings.
I knew you were going to say that. I lobbed that one to you. I don't have feelings. But we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment on the video, or send us an email, or filmeverypodcast@gmail.com.
Film Reverie. It sounded like you said Film Every.
filmeverypodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on social media. Again, follow us on our Discord, which is I have to look it up every time.
We got to do that hashtag.
It's Super Mega Ultra #7516. We are really hoping to start having some conversations with people there.
We want to get all of our fans and followers in Discord, that we have everything in one place.
Yeah. And but go check out our film. We got some other stuff coming out, and in next week's Film Friday episode, we're going to talk about our feature film, which not about our feature film, but about the woes of making a feature film.
Oh, is this one of those time travel quantum things?
And how we're going to put that out soon. We pick a date, and you'll be right there, and you'll know when it is, so you can go watch that movie too.
Sure.
Right. Okay.
I'm trying to figure out when what happens because it's like past, future, future, past.
Yeah, but when you talk about it in the show, it's
You just
you're
throws
pulling
my
back
mind for a
the
loop. I'm like, what are you talking
pulling
about?
back
Didn't
the
we
curtain.
just do that? Oh, in the Tomorrowland, it's going to be later.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Tomorrowland, we recorded out of sequence. You know, like every film audio project ever done. You know, it's funny that you have full access to every thought anyone or you have ever had, but you can't. You're sequential.
Yeah, if you jump from one thing to over here, I'm like, what? Huh? No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But you can't seem to grasp that things. You can't grasp the virtual timeline somehow, the non-linear timeline.
No, it's just I just need time to adjust.
Yeah.
It's the jumping around, like the. I'm over here, the web thinking. You just pop up over here, and I gotta travel over there.
Next time on Film Fridays, we'll explain to Brad non-linear timelines.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop there.
What? Do we need to hash it out? I'm not going to hit stop until we hash
I'm
it
the
out.
non-linear master.
I know you are.
Just transitions.
That's
are my issue.
That's what's so funny is like you are so non-linear. I'm like, what the fuck's he talking about? But when I do it, you're like, wait a minute, you switched, changed subjects in the middle. How dare you? You know that I have a transitional issue. You can't transition to something else, or I get confused.
I need transition time.
All right, that's it. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Send us an email. Hit us up on Discord. Go watch our movie, Manifest. We're really proud of it. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.
That's the way it goes.
And cut. I don't like that one. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. That's so stupid. That's the way it goes. Where the fuck did that come from?
I don't know.
Film Reverie Podcast is a production of Super Mega Ultra Entertainment and is produced by Michael Beckemeyer and Bradley Kingston. If you're enjoying this podcast, please be sure to leave us a 5-star review in iTunes, and be sure to click like or subscribe wherever you find us. That's it for this time. We'll see you again next week with another episode of Film Reverie.
The end.